Rings of Power, Episode 1. Recap and review, Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power. First two episodes were on Amazon. Yesterday, I watched the first 5 minutes of the second, but I was kind of tired. I just want to talk about this one. I don't know if I will review all these. Similar to Halo, I might review a few. I don't know. Just wanted to talk about it a little bit. I know people are either fucking creaming over this show or they fucking hate it. They call it the biggest piece of shit ever made. I never understood either side, honestly, but I did watch it. There'll be some spoilers here. Mostly from, like, the books, I suppose, but I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I wasn't, like, fucking like, oh my god, and I wasn't like, what a piece of shit. I thought it was solid. This takes place. I don't know how they're going to do the timelines, because I'm pretty sure they're trying to base this off of stuff from, like, what is it, the Silmarillion, or the Book of Unfinished Tales, whatever the fuck. I have one of those things. I think it might be, there's two, I think. I know, like, Tolkien's son, they published, like, a lot of his writings and his notes. So it's a lot of, like, small little things, and you get, like, little tidbits of, like, the past. This takes place, obviously, well before Lord of the Rings. This is, the first episode has, like, it's Galadriel. Obviously, remember her from the trilogy, and the Hobbit trilogy as well. She's an elf, but she's in the beginning. And she's talking about how, like, they show her when she was young, and then she's older, and she's like, the elves lived here, and then they went to Middle-earth. They wanted to explore Middle-earth, and then Melkor, who became Morgoth. This was, like, Sauron's, like, the original kind of Sauron, and then Sauron was kind of seduced by him, and then he became the next fucking big bad guy. But they show, like, a big battle between the fucking elves and him and Galadriel. I will say a lot of these names wrong. Her brother dies in this battle or something. No, she doesn't. Maybe he doesn't die in that battle. Apparently Sauron maybe killed him and marked him with something. It's kind of a quick thing, and then they're like, oh, and then Sauron took over. She calls him Sauron, and Morgoth. But they show her later on, and she's trying to hunt down Sauron because her brother wanted to do that. I guess he did kill. I don't know. I forget her brother's name. It's not Gil-galad, because that would have been later on with, right? Wasn't he with Isildur? Or maybe he was before. I could be fucking things up here. I apologize for that. I like the lore of Lord of the Rings, but I'm not, like, deeply versed in it. And, anyway, she's taking up the mantle, and they're hunting him in the beginning. She's traveling with these other elves, and they're like, listen, we can't find him, we gotta stop. And then all of a sudden they're at this place where he used to be, and they find the mark. And eventually her group's like, nah, we're done. So I don't know if she was ever presented like this in any of the Silmarillion books, or any, like, little appendages or whatever they're called. Or they're just making this up for the show, like she did all this shit. It's probably made up. If anybody knows, let me know. Like I said, I have the books, but I didn't go nuts reading them. But they show that, and then it cuts to, it's kind of a little like, oh, this would happen. And then it cuts now at the time they're in that first episode. She still wants to find him, Sauron. But there's, like, a part where these two people, like, hunting or something, and then they leave, and these are, like, the Hobbit things. They're not Hobbits, though, because I don't think Hobbits would have existed yet. They weren't made, or wherever the fuck they came from yet. I think this is well before they existed. I could be wrong on that, but I'm kind of, because there's humans, in this as well, and weren't, like, most of the humans, weren't they on the Isle of Numenor or whatever, and then Sauron went there, and then they left the shores, and then the god fucking destroyed their island because they left the shores. They went to mainland or whatever. Were there men? I don't know if there was actually men in Middle-earth before, or they were all on the island of Numenor or whatever. I can't remember. Like I said, I don't know exact times here if they're taking liberties. But there's these, it's kind of actually cool, like, they're hiding these, like, I think they're called Harfoots or something like that. They look kind of like hobbits. think they could have been too. Like I said, I don't know enough of this shit. But it's kind of cool, though. These two, like, humans walk past, and all of a sudden they all come out of, like, these hiding spots. They're, like, pulling up things, and they're pumping out of the fucking bushes and shit. It's actually kind of really cool. Almost seem like they're a traveling kind of group, but who knows. And then they go and do some stuff, and they go out and get some berries. They go where they shouldn't. This one of them, and two of them, and the younger kids. There's like a crazy dog there, and they get out of there. They don't see the dog, but they kind of see something, and one girl's like, we gotta get out of here. But that's going on, then it flashes back to Galadriel. Oh, I forget that some of the towns that she goes to, these elvish towns. And Elrond's there. Obviously, we know Elrond from the original the Lord of the Rings trilogy. A younger version of him, just like a younger version of Galadriel. This is not Cate Blanchett and Hugo Weaving. And she's talking to him, and then they're like, oh, you're done. You're going to the Undying Lands. And that's what elves do, right? They get to a certain point, they go to the Undying Lands, Valinor or whatever. And she's like, oh, she's all like, I gotta find Sauron. He's coming back. She's telling Elrond, like, I'm telling you. He's still out there. A very similar vibe to The Hobbit, where there was whispers of Sauron still being alive, and like, fucking Gandalf's trying to fucking figure things out with that. Kind of similar thing here. But she goes on the ship to go to the Undying Lands, and she decides not to go. They're singing their song, I guess, right? They sing the song before they go there. I don't know. It looked really cool, though. Like, there's like doves coming down and shit. And she decides to jump off the boat and swim back to land. So she doesn't go to the Undying Lands, so she's sticking around in Middle-earth to figure this shit out. Like I said, there are humans in this. There's another elf, I can't remember his name. Arendor or something, and he kind of has the hots for this woman, this female human. And I guess the elves are kind of assholes in this. Like, they look down on the humans and shit. They're like, kind of like, not like they're fucking beating them and shit, but they're kind of like, oh, we're better than you type thing. But I guess he was gonna end up going to the Undying Lands too, because he's been overlooking this shit for like 79 years or something. He says it's a tower he's in. He's talking to another guy. That's going on as well. What am I missing here? Oh, and then this is where this time frame here, spoilers if you haven't read any of the kind of book stuff. Celebrimbor, he's the smith who created the Nine Rings. He got manipulated by Sauron, and he was in like the disguise of this guy like Antar, the Lord of the Gifts or some shit. And he manipulates him to make the rings. So he's not making the rings. Like in the beginning of the second episode, Elrond's like, oh, they tell Elrond, you gotta help him, and he respects this elvish blacksmith, and he's gonna help him. And the guy says he wants to make a huge forge, which I would assume the rings would be made in. So it's in that time period of before the rings are made. And I guess they'll be made at some point during the show, and then fucking Sauron will manipulate and probably torture that guy, and then get the rest of the rings, because he makes it to one ring in secret. And he has this other guy make all the other rings for the elves and the men and the dwarves. So he's Celebrimbor. I know him because he's the one who like forged the rings. He was manipulated by Sauron, because that's what Sauron would do. He'd like come to you in the disguise of something and fucking manipulate you. See, that would have to be before the fall. Yeah, it has to be before the fall of Numenor, because Sauron, when Numenor gets destroyed, Sauron loses his like ability to look beautiful to other people or some shit. So I assume that wouldn't happen yet. Maybe it did. Like I said, I'm not certain on every timeline. In the beginning of the second episode from what I watched, well, the end of the episode ends with like a meteor coming down to Earth, and it's a dude. I don't know who this dude is. Maybe it's like a Gandalf type or something. He's just got like a beard. He comes out of like a fucking meteor, and all of a sudden the Harfoots find him. I think that's what they're called. What's the one? Brandyfoot, maybe is the one girl's name. It's Pippi, I think, or some shit. They called another one. But the one guy, a part of them, has like a book, and it shows little symbols, and like, oh shit, this was gonna happen or something. And so, I don't know if this is maybe Sauron back, but I don't think it would be. So I don't know who this is supposed to be. They don't tell you. But in the beginning of the second episode, they help him. They're like, oh, we gotta help this guy. Because she falls into the meteor, and she's like, it's not hot. It's a cool part in the beginning when Galadriel and the other elves are searching for clues about Sauron. they're in this place in the fucking snowy mountains, and the guy's like, my hand's super cold, like I can't feel it, and she's like, that's because the evil here is so thick or whatever that the torches don't give off heat. I thought that was kind of cool. Acting's pretty solid in the show. It looks really good. At least they spent the fucking hundreds of millions on making it look solid. I thought it was pretty cool. It was kind of slow going, the first one, but there's a little bit of action in there. I'm probably missing some stuff because I forget the shit easily. And Lord of the Rings is, the books are extremely fucking dense, and like you have to like really, it's like shit ton of made up fucking words and hard to fucking pronounce things. But this is taking from those. This is just not taking from, because Tolkien, it was like the Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit, and everything else was, I think, like he was like writing this world from like the early fucking 1900s up until like the 50s when the books came out. He's always adding little things and shit. So I don't know, exactly what they're pulling from how much. I think a lot of it's obviously taking liberties, and there's a lot of made up shit here, and that's fine. I didn't know there were so many. Like, I knew Lord of the Rings had a fandom, but there's a lot of people like, I don't know if they're review bombing, just saying it's a piece of shit. You're either getting 1-star reviews or half-star reviews and 5-star reviews. It's like, listen, I mean, I don't pay attention. If the user and the critic scores are shit or fucking amazing, I don't really care. I'm gonna fucking watch it or play it or whatever the fuck it may be and see how I like it myself. I thought this was pretty decent, honestly. It looked good. The acting was solid. Some of it, you can tell it might be that they might have a problem where shit's all over the place. Because so much of this shit is like unwritten stuff, like it's just little fucking bits and pieces they're gonna have to now try to fill in. Because I'm pretty sure Galadriel never did all this shit. I don't know. Like I said, I could be wrong. But you have some familiar faces in there. Like I said, Elrond, her, obviously Sauron will be popping up. And Morgoth's a known person. He was like the original guy to come down from wherever, because they're all like Maya and these other Valar and shit, and they're different like ranks, and they come down to Earth, like the Eagles and those other ones, and the Lord of the Rings and shit, and the Hobbit came down from there, the Balrog, all that shit. And I think Melkor, Morgoth corrupted a lot of people and shit like that. And now Sauron, because he's gone, I guess Morgoth's dead. I don't know if he ever died either. He just kind of became what Sauron did at the end of Lord of the Rings. He's a useless spirit or something. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know enough of it. And I know for a fact some of the shit, some of these guys, these people are probably made up and stuff for the show, and that's fine. Oh yeah, and the elf and the woman, this guy brings his cow to the woman. She's like a healer, and the elf's there too, and he's like pulling on her rudders, and like black stuff's coming out. He's like, oh shit, we gotta go, and there's like evil somewhere, and he's going to find out what it is. So you got their story going on. You got the Galadriel stuff with Elrond. Actually, her stuff's going on, and Elrond's got stuff going on. These Hobbit, Harfoot things, they have their stuff going on now with this guy who landed in a meteor. He would have come from the heavens, but it can't be Sauron because he would have already been. Like I said, I'm sure I'm fucking playing this. I don't think they'd squeeze Gandalf in because Gandalf wasn't around then. I'm pretty sure he didn't exist back then. Maybe he did. No, I don't know. I don't know. But like I said, it looks really good. There's a bunch of great set pieces and shit. Some of them might look a little like green screeny, but most of it looks real nice. It just has a nice look to it. Music's pretty good. I'm pretty sure this is not Howard Shore, but the music's good. It's not like Lord of the Rings trilogy level stuff. We're in The Hobbit, but it's not bad. The music's pretty good as well. This is going to be one of those things where it might get too much, like there's too much shit going on and they don't focus enough on one thing. I could see that being a problem. In the beginning of this second episode what I watched, Elrond tells Celebrimbor, I don't know if that's exactly how you say it. He's like, oh, we gotta figure out how to forge these things, and I want to forge this tower. Build this tower forge by a certain point. And he's like, oh, we can get help from the dwarves, and then they go, and Elrond's like, oh, I know so-and-so. Not Durin, you're somebody, another known name. They eventually let Elrond in, and Celebrimbor leaves. He's like, oh, give me a few days, and then there's a little part there where he's walking through, like, their mine. Sees all this cool shit. But I stopped at that point. I might review, if you guys like this, I'll review and recap more of them. I thought it was pretty good. I'd give this one like a 7.5. I thought it was solid. I might, kind of turn on it in the way I turned on Halo. But Halo really fucking shit the bed with stuff like, this is stuff where they're kind of like your own interpretation, or we're gonna do things the way we want. Because this isn't like Peter Jackson, this is coming right from the books. And Peter Jackson left out a lot of fucking sick shit from the books and the movies. No, Tom Bombadil, the eagle didn't talk. The fucking spider didn't talk, you know? I like the first two Hobbit movies. I thought the third one, Battle of Five Armies, I was not into. I was one of those people, I was like, they do the two different from the book, but I was like, you know what? That's it, it ended at that. I'm not gonna lose my shit. I don't know if this had so many expectations that no one was gonna, people weren't gonna like it going into it. I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of half as people split. I thought it was pretty good though, honestly. I like the world. I'm not gonna. These are coming from like little stories and stuff and little snippets of shit Tolkien did. So I don't. You're gonna have to interpret it. They're gonna have to come up with shit and then fill in the blanks. So it's more about how you're gonna fill it in or how many liberties they really take. So I don't know if it's gonna get worse as it goes on. Unless it becomes ridiculous, I'm gonna enjoy it. I am, because it's cool. I don't think it would live up to any hype. I remember they were hyping this up when it came out. A lot of people could compare it to that Game of Thrones, that new one, whatever the hell it's called, House of the Dragon. I don't know. I watched one episode of Game of Thrones, the first one, back when it aired, and that was it. But it's like, really, Lord of the Rings existed well before Game of Thrones, so 50 years, some shit, 40, 50 years before that. So, but you gotta compare shit to shit, right? People are really loving that new, and I guess a lot of people hated that last season of Game of Thrones, and this House of the Dragon's kind of making up for it, but I thought this Rings of Power was pretty cool, honestly. I thought it was solid. I try to go into everything and just to enjoy it. I'm not gonna nitpick shit. Even like Halo is shit I love, and they fucked up Halo. There were some really sick parts of Halo. When the Covenant was involved, I was like, fuck yes. The guy who played Master Chief, I forget his name, similar to the Leon shit from fucking and Wesker stuff from Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. He's a pretty good Master Chief, but he's out of his fucking goddamn uniform 90% of the time, which was a fucking mistake. And he's like, I'm in love. It was very strange. But I want to give that, I want to see a second season of that, because if they make the second season like the fucking first game, you could be on something sick. We'll see. There's some cool parts in the Halo show, though, I'll admit that. It was usually when the fucking Covenant showed up. But yeah, Rings of Power solid. I don't know. Let me know how you guys think of it. What you think if you watched it. I'm just, you know what? Maybe that's my problem. I don't know. I don't get overly pet. The most passionate I get about something is the Silent Hill shit. And you know what? I thought the first movie was okay. I think Pyramid Head should have been nowhere near it, because he's specific to 2. So I get weird about shit like that. Like, those Pyramid Head is Silent Hill 2. That's fucking it. But they had to look down in Silent Hill movie. That second Silent Hill movie was fucking terrible. And even some of the games I'm not into. But I leave it at that. I'm not, what are you going to do? I'll go and enjoy the ones I enjoyed. If I have a problem with the new ones, I'm not going to harp on it long enough, because I don't get passionate enough about it. I'm not going to be like, you know what, they fucked it up, or I don't like it. Somebody's going to like it. I'm not into it. I'll stick with the stuff I like and hope they do better the next time. I don't know. But yeah, I'd go 7.5. Solid acting, great looking set pieces, a little slow going, and it could be a little all over the place soon, because there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm afraid it might be a little bit witchery in terms of, you'll be like, when does this take place? This is a flashback, like the first season of The Witcher kind of was. Overall, I thought it was pretty good, though. I don't know. We'll see. It could, I could end up loving it, I could end up hating it, or it's just another show I watch, and it's kind of alright, and I forget about it 2 weeks later. But yeah, thanks for checking this out, and have a good day.